I've had a few new followers to my channel that are just now beginning to explore motorhomes and recreational vehicles, so I thought I would do a little research on what exactly an RV is. Boy, is that ever a can of worms. First off, what's the difference between a recreational vehicle, also known as an RV, and a motorhome? Well, not much. But motorhomes would have to have a motor in them, hence the word motor in their name, while RVs may or may not have motors in them. So from this point on, I'm just saying RV, as it includes motorhomes and, well, everything else in its definition. There are a lot of resources to find out what an RV actually is, from the RV Industry Association, or RVIA, independent platforms like GoRVing, and a host of content providers on YouTube. The problem is, everyone classifies RVs differently depending on their needs. Some are concerned with taxation and how that affects RV owners and dealers. States have various requirements based on length or how the vehicle is built. And others may have various rules and regulations based on their business model. Although various definitions exist, there are common requirements used according to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD. But as far as I can tell, HUD doesn't actually regulate RVs, and definitions, they seem to change based on rulings as time progresses, so what I'm about to say can shift and change by the time you see this video. All that said, after a lot of searching online, I think this is about as close as anyone is going to get to a set of requirements needed to be classified as an RV. So generally speaking, an RV can be defined as being built on a single chassis, measuring 400 square feet or less when measured at the largest horizontal projection, is designed to be self-propelled or permanently towable, is designed primarily not for use as a permanent dwelling, but as temporary living quarters for recreational camping, travel, or seasonal use. To add to this, individual states may add requirements to the definition, like having a permanent bed or kitchen, and some states give a maximum length to the vehicle, like 40 feet. Most of these requirements, they seem to be about how that state is going to tax the vehicle more than anything else, so I'm not sure it's important for the general definition of an RV. And that brings us to all the types of RVs out there. Again, nothing is perfectly defined, but I believe the way I've classified each kind of RV is general enough to fit most needs and specific enough not to include every vehicle ever invented in the history of the planet. Your mileage may vary. So let's start with motorized RVs. This group includes any RVs you actually drive. They have a motor in them, and they come in 3 classes. The Class A is built on a truck or bus chassis and can be up to 45 feet or more in length. They are big, look like buses, have multiple tires, and tend to have low gas mileage. They're usually high in luxury and may have slide-outs, which are sections of the vehicle that actually move out to give you more space. They have 1 or more dry baths, which means the toilet is separated enough from the shower not to get wet. Full-size refrigerators, fireplaces, big beds, lots of storage, and some even have garages. They can also tow cars and bigger vehicles and usually can sleep a lot of people. The diesel pusher is a subclass of the Class A. They use a diesel engine instead of a gas one, located in the rear of the vehicle instead of the front, hence pusher in the name. This makes for less noise for those driving up front, and diesel usually gives better gas mileage. Otherwise, they're the same as any other Class A. The Class B van is the smallest of the classes, usually built on Mercedes Sprinters, Dodge ProMasters, or Ford Transits. They usually come with wet baths, which, unlike dry baths, will get the toilet wet when you shower, have limited storage because of their small size, and usually only sleep 2 to 4 people at most. On the other hand, they have much better gas mileage than any of the motorized RVs, and are usually small and inconspicuous enough to pass for a normal van. They are not usually made for towing something as big as a car, and some of them come as small as 17 feet long, but they can get, well, I don't know, as long as 24 feet. And now there are a few companies that are making versions with a pop-up roof for an extra bed or better ceiling height. Larger than a Class B but smaller than Class A RVs, the Class C is usually built on a light-duty truck chassis. They have a bed over the cab, good storage, some have slide-outs, and either dry or wet baths. They can tow some vehicles, can sleep 2 to 6 people depending on the design, and run around 20 to 35 feet in length, providing more space to feel less cramped. Sometimes you'll see dealers call their RV a Class B Plus. These are really Class Cs, but they don't have a bed over the cab. They tend to look like Class Bs though, and can be on the longer and wider side. If you look at both the traditional Class C, the Winnebago on the left, and the so-called Class B Plus, the leisure travel van on the right, you can see they are very similar, but notice the Winnebago has a definite shape difference with the cab over bunk, while the leisure travel van doesn't. Otherwise, they are essentially the same thing. Now that we've looked at motorized vehicles, let's look at those without motors. This group of RVs include any type you may haul while connected to another vehicle. Sometimes called a camping trailer, foldable models are small and easily towed. They collapse for towing, but expand when ready to use. They usually have less installation and may or may not have a toilet and shower. They are kind of like overglorified tents for camping. A travel trailer needs a larger vehicle to tow it on a hitch, like a truck or SUV. It can be almost as large as a Class A with all the amenities, or may come in a small size with fewer options. Instead of being towed with a hitch, a fifth wheel has large connections that attach to the bed of a truck, which makes them more stable on the road because of the way they attach. Otherwise, they're much like a travel trailer. A toy hauler is named because it hauls other things inside it. It's a big travel trailer or fifth wheel that has an enclosed garage-like area for toys, like motorcycles or other small vehicles. Truck campers are designed to be carried in a truck bed, not pulled like a towable RV. They may be permanently secured or detachable, may or may not have slide-outs, come with either wet or dry baths, and can have ovens or fireplaces built in. Framed truck campers have framing of wood or aluminum that is layered with either fiberglass or aluminum siding. This is the traditional way of making a truck camper. There's also a clamshell design that uses 2 fiberglass shells fitted together. The idea is there is only one seal around the camper, so less chance of leaks. Pop-up truck campers are built to be out of the way while driving. They are lowered while driving to make the profile smaller and to reduce wind resistance. And then they're raised when in use. Some have hard sides while others have soft sides. There are many types of vehicles that can be modified to create a motor home, either by individuals who build their own or by companies that specialize in conversions. One of the more interesting modified vehicles is a school bus that has been converted into a recreational vehicle, hence the name Schoolie. I have a link below on a YouTube channel devoted to modifying buses. Pretty much any vehicle can be converted into an RV, including ambulances, trailers, and even small homes on wheels. Each is as individual as their creators, and I think pretty much every conceivable layout has been designed by someone somewhere. So, what is an RV? Some people look at vehicles you tow, or base their view on length, or just say, it looks like an RV. I've given some explanations, but in the end, it is still up to you to decide what you consider to be an RV, or a house on wheels, or whatever. For most people, I don't think it's really important to say one thing has to be an RV while another can't be. I mean, you could say an RV has to have a bathroom, and a kitchen, and a bed, which seems to be what a lot of states tend to think. But what if someone builds one and decides not to have a bathroom because they're going to use public facilities? Then what? Does it stop being an RV? I don't think so. Look at it this way. When I say the word dog, what comes to mind? Do you picture a Great Dane? Or a St. Bernard? Or even a Husky? Or do you see a Chihuahua? How could they possibly all be dogs? They don't look at all alike, but they are. RVs are a lot like that. Some are small, some are big, some you tow, some you drive. Some are really obviously RVs. I mean, you just can't miss a 40-foot Class A, can you? But some are hard to point out or even recognize as an RV, like a Class B built on a cargo van or a school bus. But they're still recreational vehicles. It's in the name. Do you have any other ways of defining an RV? Do you think I'm too strict in how I've categorized them, or maybe not strict enough? If so, let me know in the comments. I guess you could say an RV is what you make of it. So make the best of it. Be seeing you.